Welcome to the At Leisure Podcast. This is a show about sports, video games, movies, and just basically the things we do with our leisure time. My name is Brett, and I'm here with a new guest and Houston football expert, Casey. Thanks for coming on, man.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me, brother.
I'm excited to talk about this. And if you're just joining, we're continuing our Big 12 college football preview series where we are getting to know all the Big 12 schools with someone who is a fan of each team. This week, we're diving into the Houston Cougars football team and their first season in the Big 12. So, I mean, we can just jump into it. What do you think the biggest strength of this team is, Casey?
Houston Cougars' biggest strength is the one thing that has always been their strength is their offense. Going into the Big 12, you're going to need to score some points, which is what the Houston Cougars can do, but they cannot stop people from scoring, which is their Achilles heel.
Y'all are playing the old school Big 12, no defense, all offense, huh?
Yes, sir. You know, that's funny that you say that. Reminds me of, we're talking about Cougars, but it reminds me of the old Longhorns with Vince Young. You might be too young for that. I know I'm an old man.
Oh, no, I'm not too young. I mean, I will say I was pretty young when that happened, but I remember it.
Man, I was probably about 16 or 17. He's from Houston. Did you know that?
Vince Young?
Yeah.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. He went to high school about 20 minutes away from me.
You know, had the same life trajectory and everything, huh?
You know what? I should have been him.
It should have been Vince Young.
It should have been me.
Man, yeah. I guess I didn't really – I thought that Texas team had a good defense. So you're not comparing this team to the 2005 national champions.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
There is no Vince Young. There is no national title aspirations. But, I mean, looking at the schedule, I see some easy wins, but we'll get to that later. But
yeah.
There's some things that could shake up nice.
Just looking over your roster and like kind of just some general thoughts, I thought maybe your wide receiver group might be y'all's biggest strength, just because y'all have got Golden coming back, and then y'all have gotten a lot of guys in the transfer. I think Stephon Johnson from OSU, and y'all had like two 4-star receivers that could maybe play some this year. I think it was like Mikel, Harrison Pilot, and then Jonah Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the biggest thing is the star wide receiver left, Tank Dell.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about a guy that was a literal game changer with his speed and like the way he ran routes. Supposedly he's the best route runner that the NCAA has seen in a few years. I'm not saying that I agree, but I'm just saying that's what the people are saying. He's one of the best. So losing him is definitely a big loss, but we're talking about a wide receiver room with, like you said, Golden, Makai, Anthony. I don't want to mispronounce his last name, but Anthony Gangi, who's a junior from New York, and another junior, Joshua Cobbs, who is 6'4". You know they don't build wide receivers like that anymore. 6'4", big frame.
Certainly not Tank.
Yeah, Tank was like 5'9". I think you and I are both taller than Tank.
His name was so ironic to me. It was awesome.
Tank, but he's small. But I will say
he's a stud, dude.
There's 2 freshmen that are incoming that are literally the same size as Tank. Dylan Cattle and Jacoby Banks, both 5'9", sub 200 freshmen. I don't know if we got the same trajectory as Tank Dell, but they're built the same way. And you know that most small guys who don't carry a lot of weight, they're zipping around the field. So
yeah, they probably got moves if they're playing Division I football.
Exactly. So, like you said, the wide receiver room is stacked, and at quarterback, I know I'm talking about the guys that left, but right now we're looking at a few sophomores, a few juniors, Lucas Coley, Jed Huff, but I think the guy that's gonna get the job is probably going to be Donovan Smith, who's a junior from Las Vegas. 6'5". Once again, they don't build them like that anymore. Height is starting to come back to football, and I'm kind of happy about that.
Dude, you're preaching to a fan of Donovan Smith. I will be rooting for him every game he's not playing Tech, because I mean he came from Tech, and
yes, sir.
Man, that guy was a competitor. And while he played those 6 games for Tech, he gained like 1,500 yards and was responsible for
Hmm.
like 16 touchdowns. Like that dude, like you said, he's built different. He
Hmm.
played a perfect game against Texas. He created a memory that I'll always remember of us beating them. And I mean, he just showed some legitimate star power. I would say we're kind of getting into important new players, but I would just say for him, the reason Tech let him go is he's got very questionable decision making. Like
Yeah.
he's very boom or bust. It's like he threw like against Houston last year. He threw 3 picks and 3 touchdowns. And
Hmm.
those picks were not forced. So
I mean, at this level, you kind of have to take all that with a grain of salt because we're talking about kids who barely just got out of high school. So, of course, their
mhm.
decision making is going to be on the fringe. So, you can look at guys like who made it to the league, like Jameis Winston, who's throwing 30 touchdowns, but also 30 interceptions. But you still got to watch out for those 30 touchdowns. They will still kill you. So, like you said, 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Yes, I got 3 picks off of him, but bro scored on me 3 times. So the same way that I can stop him is the same way that I cannot stop him.
Mhm.
So Donovan Smith is definitely a weapon.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he wasn't starting quarterback. What about y'all's offensive line? So far we've said offense is your biggest strength. Wide receivers are great. I think I like your quarterback as much as anybody in the Big 12. What about your O line? I know y'all have got that one guy who's probably going to go pro, Patrick Paul. Is there anyone else? Is the line like are you worried about it or is it a strength?
Uh, the thing about the line is we got a lot of seniors on that line, and that means that we're
That's
getting some
normally
veteran leadership.
yeah, that's normally good.
And these are some big boys, 6'5", 6'3", 6'3", 6'6", all 300 plus pounds. But the thing with Houston offense is it's kind of like a run and gun offense. So you got to have some linemen that are not only large but are also agile. And all of these guys are humming around the field. So you got guards pulling across that line, blowing up some DNs and some Will and Sam linebackers, and it's a nightmare when you see a 6'6", 309 guy like David Ndukwe from Atlanta, Georgia, coming at you, and one of our seniors or juniors rather, that's like you said, Patrick Paul, 6'7", 315 pounds,
Dude's a giant.
and I would definitely be
Pro size
surprised
right
if
there.
Bro does not go to the league. Just off of size alone, he could make it. But he's also being highlighted in the Big 12. Yes, there you do get highlighted in the ACC or the American Athletic Conference, the AAC, which is where they're coming from. But the Big 12 definitely puts a lot of eyes on you. So Patrick is definitely going to have a chance to go pro. 6'7", 315 pounds. I just can't get past that.
And while we're talking about these players, he's another important returning player. I saw a stat where he's only allowed 4 sacks in 1,991 snaps. Like
Hmm.
that is elite. If you've got a tackle like that, he'll win you ball games.
Hmm. Yeah, man. Most good teams have a good tackle
a
that's
hundred percent.
protecting the quarterback. Even
Mm-hmm.
on the pro level, what do you want for your quarterback? You want a good tackle. That's why you give them all the money. So Patrick is in line to make a lot of money if he keeps his head on straight, does what he needs to do, uses his body correctly, and just plays ball, man.
Well, and then I guess we can move on to weaknesses. So you said the offense was the strength, and we kind of went over all the positions there. What about weaknesses on the defensive side? I saw they allowed 32.2 points per game last year, and we're like 112th in the nation.
So Houston's thing was they like to get ahead of you and then let you back in the game. Played several overtime games, several multi overtime games, and in college football, it doesn't end with just one overtime. Like we could go into legit 7 overtimes.
Oh, was it that SMU or was it UTSA or
It
both of
was
them?
I think it was both of them actually.
Yeah,
But yeah,
like the
so
70s.
So we're looking at a defense that I wish I had an analogy that was suitable for kids, but they just can't stop anything. They just I don't know how
Yeah.
to like stress it
Hey,
enough.
you're talking to a Texas Tech fan, man. And we'd always say it can only get better from here. So I'm sure that's what you're about to say, right? Like you can't
I
be worse than
mean,
last year.
rock bottom feels, you know, it it feels like, yeah, there's no way up. There's nowhere but up from here. But I mean, I don't know, man. These are the same guys. There's a reason why you don't see a lot of Houston defensive guys being drafted. We've had several Cougs go to the draft from offense, but you're not seeing a lot of Cougs go from the defensive end. And I don't know if that's a recruiting issue. I don't know if it's a scheme issue, a coaching issue. I mean, just watching the games, it's like they're giving up stuff that's so simple across the middle, on the sidelines. Our secondary is not, they're not zooming around the field like they should be. And we got 50 DBs. I'm looking at the roster right now. We got like 50 DBs, and absolutely none of them can stop anything that's coming across. So pretty much, if you are a quarterback coming to TDECU Stadium, which is Houston's home stadium, just prepare to have the game of your life.
I was going to say, if I had to pick, I would say your defensive backs were probably the worst on a difficult unit, just because it's like you don't have a single known player in the backfield. They're all either transfers or part-time players from last year. You know,
Exactly.
at least the other guys have experience, even if they played poorly. These guys, you're just not going to even know what you're getting at all.
Yeah.
There's that one transfer guy when we get into important new players that I think will give you a boost there if you want to
I'm,
get into him.
well, before I get there, I want to piggyback on what you were saying because as far as the DBs go, I'm counting like 7 freshmen on this DB roster right now, which means that the turnover rate is ridiculous. And maybe, just maybe, I mean, there's not a lot of film on these freshmen, but just maybe we got some guys that can make a difference because literally with the Houston Cougars, what they're going to do is they're going to score. All they need from the defense is just to be average. Like you mentioned before,
Yeah.
they were very much below average. So if the Houston Cougars could just legitimately have an average defense or close to average, you're talking about a team that who can go from winning 6 or 7 games to almost 9 or 10 because they're not the only team that has that problem. Like you said, Tech had that
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Memphis, who's a well-known offensive team, they had that problem. But just an average defense, as a fan, I don't feel like that's asking for too much.
That's such a familiar refrain, man. I feel that. Anything else about the defense you want to hit on before we get into important returning players?
I'm not seeing anything that jumps out at me. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Okay. Well, uh, with the returning players, we've mentioned Patrick Paul already, and we've kind of mentioned Donovan Smith as a new player. But are there any other returning players that you're wanting to highlight here?
I'm looking at tight end Logan Compton, 6'4", 245 pounds, a junior. Nice size, nice hands. Good thing about him is bro can block his tail off. And
Nice.
that's one of the lost arts of tight end. And I'm highlighting this because I used to be a tight end. I know I don't probably look like it. I used to be a tight end. And you can tell a good tight end by A, his footwork, B, his blocking, and C, his pass catching ability. See, I'm about to learn you something right now. So, you got your Travis Kelce's of the world, you have your George Kittles, and then you
Yeah.
have your Darren Wallers of the world. We're talking about 3 different types of tight ends. So, you have Kelsey. What is he known for? Catching a lot of touchdowns. You got Kittles. What is he known for? Being a good blocker and catching touchdowns. Darren Waller, terrible blocker. Doesn't score a lot of touchdowns, but very fast. That is where the tight end position is headed. But Logan Compton is more of a hybrid between Kelsey and Kittles, which is more of the old school tight end that's going to knock you down, hit that cross route, catch the ball, then bumble for about 10 yards after that.
Heck yeah.
Old school football, that's what we're talking about. He's not the new school where these tight ends are running 4.3 40s. Never heard of it. I ran a 4.6. You can write that down. It's a fact. It happened. I have literal proof. I ran a 4.6. That's around where your tight end should be. Logan Compton's running about a 4.6, 4.7, 40.
That's
So
pretty fast.
it's
That's pretty
pretty
fast.
fast. It's
Yeah.
We're zooming down and we're knocking people on their butts and we're hitting that cross route and we're getting 10 yards after that.
And you're bumbling. And you're bumbling.
And bumbling for that yak. You know what that yak is, right? Yards after
Oh yeah.
carry.
Oh yeah. I
Yards
didn't
after
get much of
carry.
those in my playing days. Let me just tell you that.
Come on, man. You know you got a
I was
little
about a
something.
buck 30.
You
So
know you got a little something. I've seen you. Your athletic skills. Don't sell yourself short. I know you got something.
well, I did not know y'all had a good tight end. So this is news to me. Do y'all utilize your tight ends? Because I'll say Tech, I feel like has 3 great tight ends, but we don't really utilize them that much because we play the spread so often that we don't even put a man down. So I just
Yeah,
wondered if
I
y'all
mean,
utilized them last year, or if they're threatening to use them more this year, or
here's the thing with these high offensive teams, they're running these kind of weird formations where the tight ends playing behind the tackle,
right.
tight ends a few feet away from the tackle, tight ends in the backfield, tight ends out at wide receiver.
Okay, so they do
The name
use
of the
them.
game is versatility. Really, if we're being honest, the more versatile you are, the better off you will be, and that's for any position. Because I forgot what team it was. There was this one team that was running a defensive lineman at fullback when they got to the goal line every time. So I,
That might have been Tech.
I
We
think
had Broderick Washington score a touchdown,
it
or not
could have
Broderick
been,
Washington.
bro, because there was this one team like every week they would highlight it. There was a defensive lineman that would literally every goal line possession that the team would have, they're sending in a defensive lineman. So you definitely have to be for sure ready to play wherever.
I'm trying to think of other return players. I saw they'll have a defensive end, Nelson
Nelson
Caesar.
Caesar, Malik
That's
Robinson, linebacker, and I really don't even want to highlight these defensive guys because we all know that they didn't do what they were supposed to do. But like you said earlier, Matthew Golden and Tony Mathis, which is a running back.
he's from West Virginia, right? He's going to be coming in, probably taking the
Yeah,
primary job, right?
yeah, he's a junior from, like you said, West Virginia, originally from Orlando, Florida. 208 pounds. He's a bit on the bigger side. He's 5'11". You kind of like for your running backs to be probably about 5'9", 5'10". I would rather my running backs are 5'9" as opposed to my wide receivers. So most of our running backs are bigger than our wide receivers.
Still, I'd be pretty excited about Tony Mathis. I think I saw him have some pretty good games for West Virginia, and I think he was splitting carries, obviously, but I think he averaged like 56 yards and ended the season with nearly 600 yards. So that's pretty good. If you gave him
Mm,
the bulk of the carries, he might be able to pump out 1,000 yard season there.
yes, sir. That's pretty much my list on best players coming back. Like you said, Patrick Paul, Donovan Smith, Nelson Caesar, Malik Robinson, Adari Halsey, which is a cornerback, but you know how that cornerback
He's also transferred, right? He
Yeah,
uh, he's the guy from New Mexico that I was referencing earlier. They expect him to start, but he was
mhm.
like an All American freshman for them, right?
Yeah, he's coming in
And he's a big get for y'all.
sophomore. So hopefully this recruiting went well and these guys pan out. We got another senior as a cornerback, Alex Hogan. That's supposed to be a top dog. So it's really just a prove it season for U of H going into the Big 12. How to have a good season for them is just proving that they can do what they've been doing, but adding that extra layer of playing better on the defensive end. I tell you what, we have the opportunity because the Big 12 is in such a flux. Actually, not just the Big 12. I don't know if you've seen it. All the conferences are in a flux right now
Yeah.
with people moving around, jumping around. They need to take these numbers off of these conferences because it's not the Big 12, the Big 10, the Pac 12 anymore.
They said they're going to rebrand, so I'm hoping they'll find some name that doesn't put a number on it. Because if you put a number on it these days, you should get fired. you know,
Yeah, because
it's
nothing
fluid.
stays the same. Nothing stays the same. The more things go along, they're gonna change. So, I mean, we see it now with the way college football is even changing with the playoffs. Like trying to add, what is it, 12 teams now? So, uh,
Yeah, that one is going to happen. I'm excited about that, though. I like that.
mm, me not so
Gives more teams a
much,
chance
but
to play
that's
for
none
the
of my
big one.
business. I mean, but you already know who's gonna do what. There's
Well,
not really
this
a lot
way,
of surprises.
well, there hasn't been very many surprises in college football in a while, and it's because it's so skewed. But if you have teams that feel like, hey, we can make the championship game if we don't play for Georgia, we can play for this other team. They have a path,
Mhm.
you know? And
I
I think
mean,
that'll
we
help.
we even thought with the influx of NIL money that it would change the landscape of things. But look at a team like A&M who has limitless funds, limitless pockets, and they still only win in like 6 or 7 games. So, I mean, that's why I'm on the keep things how they were wagon because I just don't see things changing like that, you know?
Man, I think we need to change because otherwise it's going to keep being this Georgia every time, you know?
You think
That's
so?
what I'm thinking. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
I
Georgia
can
and
agree with
Alabama,
that.
you know?
I can agree with
And
that.
so this at least puts some more excitement onto the idea of the national
Mhm.
championship.
Well, they thought
But
that. Well, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but I will say that I agree to an extent.
yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, you're probably right. It'll probably be the same teams every year, but it already is that. So this at least gives a chance for like, I mean, honestly, whoever wins the Big 12 in the future will have a shot.
Hmm.
And in the past, sometimes that doesn't even happen. You know, it's like you play a whole
That's
season,
true.
you probably
That's true.
deserve a shot at it. And I mean, TCU got in last year; they wouldn't have been in the championship, and now it didn't turn out well. But they did win the first playoff game. You know, they beat
Yeah,
Michigan, who would have been there. So
they
I
got
don't know. I think
in with
it's
a lot of controversy around it, like level of competition thing that people like to go off of. But
you
I
can only
mean,
beat who's in front of you, and I mean they beat Michigan,
when
and
you
I
build
think the
that
Big 12.
schedule, you put the teams on there. It's up to you to go out and win those games. That's what they
Yeah,
did. They went and they won that first round. Now, what happened in that national title game? I mean,
we don't speak of that.
we we saw it coming though. We saw it coming. It
Not
wasn't a
like that.
surprise. It wasn't a
No,
surprise.
the beatdown was a bit of surprise, but not. Well, anyways, we can get back to Houston. We can get
Yeah,
back to
yeah,
Houston
yeah.
here.
I mean,
I would say
we just shooting the breeze, man. We
we
just
just
shooting the
shooting the
breeze.
breeze. I know. People can skip this if they want. I'll put time codes in here. Um, but I think for y'all to have a good season, you need Donovan Smith to play lights out like I think he can and keep the
Mhm.
turnovers low. Like I said, that was his big thing
Just
at
for him to
Tech.
be
Is
dynamic as he could be. I'm talking about a guy that can beat you multiple ways. If he can command the offense, Dana Holmgren is a good offensive mind. So I feel like Donovan Smith can thrive in this offense. He can kill you with the feet, with the arm, and alongside these weapons that he has, they could do some damage. That's a good way to get things going for the let's get to the Big 12 title game train. The thing that could kill them is if these new recruits on defense don't pan out and it's more of the same. Because Donovan Smith can go out there and score 50 points by himself, but if the defense gives up 51 points, you just lost that game. So, how can we have a good season? Our offense continuing to do what it always has done. How can we have a bad season? Not only the defense not stepping up, but injuries. I feel like that's something that you always have to throw in there and something that you
always.
always have to be conscious of.
And
Injuries
I
can derail a season.
and I think y'all's defense is pretty decent on your starters, but I don't think you're
Mm,
very deep. If you start getting
yeah,
injuries on your
not a lot of
defense,
depth.
it's just gonna really derail your season. So that was my second point. Is I thought defense stays injury free so that your starters can propel to the team to an improved defense that you need.
Mm,
And then you got to win those first three easy games. You win those three games and you get yourself a good foundation. You can't be losing to UTSA. I think those are your keys. You got anything else on that?
no, but like you said, we're used to playing the Rices, the Navies, the USFs, the Temples, the Tulsas, and we're replacing those with Texas, TCU, Kansas State, UCF, and Cincinnati. So we're going to need health and just a little bit of luck.
Got to win those
A
close
little
games.
bit of luck. Hopefully, you can edge out some of those games. Hopefully, maybe Holgerson is going to outcoach somebody. Maybe. I'm not saying he's going to do it, but maybe.
I think that's a good transition into what do you think the fan mood is? The Houston football fans I know last year was kind of a disappointment because it felt like that
Mm-hmm.
was going to be y'all's year. But
Yes.
now you're a large school, large market. Does it feel like there's momentum? I mean, are you a Holgerson
So
fan?
with um with the college football, you're always gonna have your alumni fans who are just no matter what the situation is, they're gonna be there. With U of H, the vibes are immaculate. You're talking about a school that has a basketball team that is top notch and a football team that does what you would want them to do for the most part. And so the fans are going to be there. They just built this new stadium. I drove past it a couple weeks ago. They were doing some renovations on it, I think, to make it bigger. So the school is expecting the fans to come out. Vibes are very much positive. I think we're going to have not Texas turnout, but maybe like Kansas State turnout. Like I
Yeah,
think we'll be up in
think the
that
stadiums are going to
area.
be full, huh?
I think the stadium's gonna be full. Not UT. I mean, I'm talking. They got about 100,000 in their stadium,
Yeah,
but
no.
a good 40, 50,000. That's how big
If
TDEC
you fill the
stadium is.
stadium, that's all you can do. You know,
That's all you can do, man.
I think that would create quite the atmosphere.
And I agree with that. And as far as Dana Holgerson goes, I feel like this is the season that will either have him leading us into the Big 12 charge, or hey, we might need to go find a bigger name since we're going to a bigger conference. If he wins 8 games, 9 games, I feel like he can keep his job. But I mean, being realistic,
If he
6 games is more where the national media is having us at. Just, I mean, hard to argue against.
yeah, I mean, if y'all lose one of those first 3 games, I think he's on the hot seat pretty much immediately.
Well, that's the thing. You're probably going to win those first 3. It's the ones after that, like Tech, Virginia, Texas, K State, Baylor, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State,
I keep
UCF.
saying the first 3.
It's the first 2,
TCU's
and then
2, and then
after that,
yeah, yeah.
so Sam Houston. But Sam Houston State, I spent a little time in Huntsville. Sam Houston State is not somebody you want to take for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won
I mean,
several
honestly,
FCS. They in the FCS they won, or not won. They went to the national title game in the FCS like 4 or 5 years in a row.
yeah, I
So
mean, and UTSA is no joke either. I mean, I think you can win all 3 of those games. You should win all 3 of
I
those
mean,
games,
one
but
of my
they're
exes
not going
went
to
to
be
UTSA, so
cakewalks.
I'm not really a big fan of them. So I hope that U of A stomps them down so I can slide in their DMs and
A
be
little
like, "Hey, you see what
cathartic.
happened?
Uh,
You see, yeah, that's her alma mater." So if she listens to this, I want her to know that UTSA sucks.
that's a good plug there. All right, so you think we're gonna? Yeah, let's just run down the schedule for your
Hmm.
team here. So UTSA, that's a win, right?
Yeah, Rice, that's a win.
Rice. Mm-hmm. How you feeling about the
TCU,
TCU game?
that's a shootout. It's a shootout with TCU winning though, and that's a primetime game too. 7 p.m. on Fox.
Yeah, that's cool. And it'll be at y'all's place, so that'll be
Yeah.
y'all's first Big 12 game as a member of the Big 12.
Mm,
That place is gonna be rocking. That's
yeah.
a trap game for TCU. I know they'll be favored by
It's a trap game,
probably.
but I hear that TCU fans travel well, so you might be looking at a split crowd because
Surely not. Surely y'all's first Big
Dallas
12 game, y'all are
Dallas is
gonna
not
pack that bad
Dallas is
boy.
not far.
No, I mean, well, y'all should pack that.
We
If
should, but
TCU if it's split, that's gonna be kind of embarrassing for y'all
unless
because
unless U of H does, I've heard of teams doing this where they'll only
TCU
sell
does it.
so many
Yeah, TCU
away.
does that.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Uh, if they only sell so many away tickets, then yeah. But if they open that thing up, TCU will flood in, man. They travel so well.
Okay, so you got that one as a loss. Sam Houston, that's a win, right?
Houston should be a win, but
And
that's
then
the trap game for you. The same way that we're a trap game for TCU, Sam Houston's a trap game for us because they're moving. They've moved up to the FBS in the American Athletic Conference, I think. So they're
dang, yeah,
uh,
they're gonna be
D1
fired
now.
up.
Yeah. So hopefully we win that one. That'll be a
Okay, and
night
then
game as
it's
well.
oh yeah, but ESPN Plus, not Fox. It'll be a pretty big difference there.
Yeah.
And the next game is at Texas
Texas
Tech.
Tech. What do you think?
Y'all almost beat us last year, and it'll be the Donovan Smith revenge game.
Hmm.
But I think we got y'all,
You think so?
dude. Tech is overhyped this year. We are feeling ourselves, but we got a good team. Like
Okay.
you're talking about your defense being worried. Like I feel pretty good about our defense, and that is rare for a Texas Tech team.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say that anyways, but I just want to get your take on it. But yeah, that definitely will be a good game. But I think Tech might edge us out. West Virginia, I actually think we'll beat West Virginia. I got I I got the confidence for that one. That next one, not so much. Texas did a good job of recruiting this offseason, so
Bro, but don't they always?
I mean, but
They
this is
always have
this
talent
is
that's
a
way above
this is
us.
a new day. They got rid of not got rid of, but a lot of the older guys they walked off into the sunset, and I think it's time for that actual new Texas team to go ahead and take its form. And I think they're gonna make you'll be surprised by UT this season.
I hope y'all kick their butts.
Of course you do, but
I
I'm
hope you
just being
do.
realistic. It depends on how Texas starts off this season, but
That's a game where I can see the stadium being split though, because Texas is closer than Fort Worth, or Austin is closer to Houston than Fort Worth is,
yeah,
and
Austin's only
they'll
two
they'll
hours
probably
away.
yeah they'll probably fill up y'all stadium. So
Less with
that's when
even
you need to do the
with no
split ticket
traffic.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. K State. Shout out to my boy Connor. K State. I don't want to say that we'll beat them because Connor would beat me, but I think there's a good chance that we could catch K State slipping. It's an away game, but I think if Donovan Smith can make some magic happen, and we can get in a little shootout with them, I think we could probably edge them out.
Are you calling your shot then? Is this gonna be your
This
upset
is
here?
this is my hot take.
All right.
Us tricking K State.
So that would be your fifth win, and if you want to get to six and take it to the national media, you'll have to beat Baylor, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, or UCF. Next one's Baylor. What do you think?
Baylor, don't feel very confident about that one, but versus Cincinnati at home, I don't know. Don't quote me on this, but I think we got that one for sure.
Okay. I think y'all can definitely
I
win
think we
that
got
game.
that one for sure.
For
And
sure. All right.
uh, Oklahoma State at home, Mullet's coming into town, and so I mean,
It'll be
Oklahoma
the
State is always gonna be that team that comes in highly touted, but they're average every year. And so, am I afraid of them? Not really.
this will be the battle of the old Oklahoma or the old Texas Tech quarterbacks. Donovan
Hmm.
Smith versus Alan Bowman.
Yeah, and
I'm
so
excited to watch this game.
so I've seen Oklahoma State play in person a couple of times when I was staying up in Oklahoma City, and they're just an average team, man, and can be beaten by anybody, which they've proven on several
I
occasions.
think they've also proven though that they can beat anybody. Like Gundy
Yeah,
is a good coach,
it's just
so
such a weird team, man.
it's so weird. Yeah, it's
Such
a
a
weird
weird
team.
team. It's like they'll lose every game and then get to Red River or game versus OU and or what's it called? What y'all call that thing up there? Bedlam. I guess I'm an Oklahoman now. Bedlam. They'll get to Bedlam and then just play like NFL superstars, all pros. So I don't know, but I got us beating Oklahoma State for that
Okay,
extra
so y'all
dub.
at 7 wins, and
Yeah,
then y'all play at UCF.
on the road, I do not trust U of H. So I'm letting that one slide as an L.
Okay, so you've got 7 wins. Is that enough for Holgerson to keep his job? Are you?
Seven and
Is that a
five.
successful season?
7 and 5. It depends on how close the Texas, Baylor, and Tech games are. It depends on how close those games are. If we lose those
Yeah,
games and we lose them by a large margin, Holgerson's out. If we win those games, he's definitely staying.
yeah.
But if we
If he's
lose,
competitive,
yeah, if we lose and it's like scrappy, and it's like, man, y'all could have won that, then I think he might keep his job. Because what they've done is they've kept him and just like cycled through his assistants and like got
yeah,
him new assistants. And so I think we're at the last iteration of, all right, we gave you new assistants, we gave you more money for recruiting, we've moved you to a different conference, we've done this and that. I think his last chance to prove that he could be the coach for this team. So we'll see.
that's fair. That's fair. Well, do you have any closing remarks? Anything you want to plug or anything you want to say?
Nothing to plug, but I do want to say thanks for having me on your pod, man. I've listened to quite a few episodes, and I enjoy what you got going on. And
Hey,
keep it going,
thanks,
bro. Keep it going.
dude. We will. And hey, if you ever want to come on, just hit me up. Especially the Tech Houston game, especially if it's a good one. We should definitely just do a joint podcast.
For sure, man. September 30th, I'm definitely gonna be locked in.
Same, dude. College football's coming up. I'm so excited. I think about it every day.
Yep.
It's
One more.
embarrassing how much I think about it.
We got NFL just started back with the preseason. Baseball's about to head into the postseason soon.
Oof. Your
Everything's
Astros,
coming
man,
back, man.
they're
Everything's coming
nipping
back,
at our heels.
and I just you feel it. You know, you go through the
It's
dog days of
fall,
summer.
man. Fall is the best.
Yeah, you go through the dog days of summer where there's literally only baseball on and nothing else. So they bring back ESPN the Ocho and have you watching professional tag or whatever.
Yeah,
And you're
some
just like, bro, what is
nonsense.
this world without
Yeah,
sports? And then
pickleball is on
boom,
CBS.
exactly. And then August comes around, and then like boom, everything starts coming back. You start feeling that tingle, and it's like, all right, I feel it. Saturday's about to be popping.
Yes,
Thursdays,
sir.
Mondays, Sundays. Sports are a beautiful thing, man.
Man,
The
I
way they
can't
make you
wait.
feel, it's just a beautiful thing. And I'm glad I get to talk to good people like you. And
Same, man. Same.
definitely looking forward to this season. I'm excited. I'm ready. All of the above.
All right. Well, I think that'll wrap it up. Thanks again for being on, and everyone, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed it, like and share all the things. So, see ya.